Have you experienced arrested growth in your broiler chicken, especially in the first and the second weeks? Have you observed excessive ranting in your broilers? Or have you experienced lack of uniformity in growth of your broilers? In today's video, I will be discussing about the disease that shakes the core of the broiler production, that is the growth performance and decreased weight gain. This disease can lead up to 2 to 3 times the weight decrease in your broiler chicken, and that is the ranting and stunting syndrome, also called the RSS disease. I've found it important to discuss about this disease because it affects broiler chicks at a time which is very critical in their growth and maturity. If the life of a chick, especially in the first and the second week, is affected, it becomes very difficult, to hit the target market weight. And this leads to losses. The ranting and stunting syndrome disease affects chicks in the first and the second weeks of life, leading to reduced growth performance, low feed efficiency, and lack of uniformity in growth. How can you identify this disease in your broilers? What causes it? And how can we prevent and manage it? That's what we'll be discussing in this video. Before we get into this important topic, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified when we upload a new video. Make sure that you hit that like button and tell us where you are watching from. Give us some feedback and we will be ready to respond and to read them. What are some of the symptoms of the RSS disease that can help us identify it in broilers? Number 1, you will see the chicks huddling around the feeders and the drinkers. Number 2, you will see a decreased feed intake. That is, you will see a lot of loss of feeds which have remained in the feeders. Uniformity in growth decreases from 70% to about 35%, and this is characterized by the increased number of runts. That is where you see some of the broilers are growing way faster and others are being left behind. There's another sign is the feathers at the wings are curled. And this is called the helicopter disease, whereby you find that the feathers at the tip of the wing, they are coiled and curled, and this is an indication that your birds may be suffering from the RSS disease. Another important sign is that the broiler birds appear pale on the skin, the feet, and also the beaks. And there will be a temporary stunting or permanent ranting. Temporary stunting means that your broilers, the growth of your broilers will be arrested for some time. And if this is not corrected, then this disease turns into permanent ranting, whereby your broilers, you find that your broilers are not gaining weight. Now that we have discussed about the signs that we are going to look out for so that we can be notified if this disease is affecting our broiler birds, what are the causes of this devastating disease? Because if we can know the sources, then we can be able to know how to control and manage this disease. The actual cause of this disease is unknown. However, viruses and bacteria have been detected in the affected birds, and these viruses and bacteria attack the small intestines, leading to the poor feed efficiency and emergence of other opportunistic infections. And you see, this poor feed efficiency is the one that leads to loss of weight and stunted growth. Birds with a better gut immunity are able to overcome the disease, where weak birds succumb to this infection. This point is so important because it helps us to know how to prevent and manage this disease. Research has also showed that the low brooding temperatures worsen this situation, and there's a report that was saying that this disease affects the male birds more than the female birds. Therefore, if the male birds among your broiler flock are being affected more. And we all know that these male birds are the ones that gain more weight. They are able to gain more weight than the female ones. This means that if this disease can hit your flock, then you are going to suffer a lot of losses. As any other enteric diseases are diseases that usually affect the intestines. The runting and stunting syndrome disease is largely as a result of poor management in the birds. Therefore, let's discuss on how we are going now to control and manage this devastating disease in broilers so that we can avoid the losses. And you will find that due to lack of specificity of the cause of this disease, there is no specific treatment or vaccine to be able to treat this disease once and for all. This leaves us with one option, and that is offer supportive treatment to our birds and take proper control and management of our broiler birds. The control and management should focus on these areas. Number one is using organic treats. Vinegar and other organic acidifiers, when added into water, have been found to decrease the effects of this disease. And actually, these acidifiers helps in the reestablishment of the gut bacteria that is usually destroyed by these pathogens that cause the runting and stunting syndrome disease. Another thing that you should look into is proper supplementation of vitamins and minerals. Make sure that in your feeds you have the required vitamins and the required minerals that are needed by your broilers. Number 3 is that you must have a good poultry house management. Make sure that the house is stress-free. That is, proper temperatures should be maintained. There should be enough ventilation. There should be no accumulation of the fecal material, because this will bring in the aspect of ammonia. And another thing I saw about ammonia is that it leads to decellularization of the respiratory system. And when the cilia are hairs that are found in the respiratory system, and they help to clear out the dirt. And you see, when now the ammonia gets away with all these cilia, this predisposes our chicken into diseases, especially the chronic respiratory disease. Another thing under poultry house management is proper brooder disinfection, because this runting and stunting syndrome can be passed over through the litter. Therefore, another important thing you must note is that you should give at least 2 weeks interval before you bring in a new flock, because this disease can be transmitted through the fomites that is the the equipment and also the littering material. Therefore, you should change the littering material as often as possible. Also, another thing is that you are going now to vaccinate, and you are vaccinating so that you can eliminate the other diseases, because you find that when a disease attacks, for example, a disease like gumboro, this shakes the immunity of the chicken, and this gives way for other opportunistic infections to infect our birds. Another important thing is that you should buy feeds from trusted millers and store them properly. Make sure that the suspected feeds have been analyzed for toxins, because these toxins could lead to the runting and stunting disease. Make sure that you hit the video on your screen right now so that you can be able to know the guide on how to brood chicks with 0 mortalities.